Welcome to the 46th AAU Junior National Volleyball Championships. Here we are on the campus of ESPN Wide World of Sports, of course, at the beautiful Walt Disney World Resort in Orlando, Florida. This is the court where all the action will go down. We are inside the HP Fieldhouse for the 18U's Championship, and it's all set to go. MVP Academy taking on the boys from the Bayou here in the 8U Championship game. So how did these two teams get here today? This is how they did. In the quarterfinals, we saw the Bayou Boys take care of La Estrella Columbia, then Toreros pretty easily. That gets them here. Meanwhile, it was MVP clawing past Orlando Gold 18 in the semis just moments ago. Aaron Campbell, Despina Barton here in the booth for you. We were both just on the sidelines watching that game pan out. MVP walks in with a lot of experience, Aaron. What can we expect for today's matchup?
Yeah, so when we look at the roster of these two teams, MVP Academy, they have that typical David and Goliath mentality. They were the national champion last year. And then, so keep an eye out for Sotude, who is the setter, and keep an eye out for number 17, Dylan Ryan.
All right, so they will actually be the visitors today, MVP Academy from Fort Lauderdale. This is who they are working with. Aaron, you talked about Sotude. Then we have Deluzio, Morales, Cody Hayes, Griffin Johnson, and then the back end of that roster filled out by Sal Garina, Omar Hoyas, Jeremy Sanchez, Dylan Ryan. They are all led by Omar Hoyas, the senior. He's got the steady blue glasses on, the color of his team, hoping to walk away with another victory here inside the HP Fieldhouse. His opponents, though, they're newcomers on the block from the Bayou in New Orleans. This team made up of Nicholas Beatty, Vincent Giovingo, Colby Laundrie, Kirk Delacroix, Ross Miller. We have Jaden Sanders, Bryce Park, Dane Loop. We have a couple guys going to play club volleyball at LSU next year, and they are led by head coach Joseph Betta. 10 years he's been leading this squad, and this is actually the first time here in this tournament. He says they were seeded 30th because they don't get to play a lot of high school volleyball in their state, and the only action they get is club. So this team walks in with a chip on their shoulder, Aaron.
Yeah, it's going to be, like I said, an awesome match today. Very David and Goliath, returning national champion versus the new guys. It'll be a fun match today.
Do you want me to list all the kids' names? Do you want me to? Okay, that's what I thought. I was like, you're moving along. Let me just. Okay.
Sure.
My middle monitor is what?
ISO.
ISO, okay. This is program, okay. Welcome into the 46th AAU Junior National Volleyball Championships here on the beautiful campus of ESPN Wide World of Sports at the beautiful Walt Disney World Resort in Orlando, Florida. The site for all the action and the best of the best in AAU. This is the HP Fieldhouse, and Championship Court is where we're set to go to take on the 18U's Championship. And of course, the table is set. It's MVP Academy, the Fire from Fort Lauderdale, taking on the Bayou Boys from Louisiana. So how did these two teams get here today? Well, it was a lot of hard work. The Bayou Boys taking care of La Estrella, then the Toreros earlier this morning. And then, of course, for MVP Academy, taking out Orlando Gold in the semifinal round that just finished up moments ago. Aaron Campbell, Despina Barton here in the booth. We were both just courtside watching these two semis finish up. Aaron, we're looking at these rosters, and MVP, who walks in as the visiting team today, walks in with a lot of experience.
Yeah, and you keep an eye out for number 3, Sotude, and number 17, Dylan Ryan. Very, very dynamic duo of these two very, very big powerhouse teams.
And they've got the depth to go along with it. That one going 3 sets to land here, and they know how to win. And Omar Hoyas is their head coach. He's been here before. Like Aaron said, this team won it all a year ago, and they're fighting against a very young new crew, the Bayou Boys from Louisiana. These guys don't even get to play a high school season. They get together for club, and they've got 2 guys going on to play at LSU next season. Giovingo and Lewandowski will play club next year. They got a chip on their shoulder.
Yeah, and Giovingo is going to dish out a great offense today.
Yeah, and they are led by Joseph Petta and his 10 years hosting this club. He says a lot of the guys have been playing together for the last 8 seasons. They all know each other, and they're all kind of small, Aaron, so they definitely play a full body of work here. This is Bayou Boys' first appearance here at AAU Junior Nationals, and just the second year that the boys bracket was incorporated here in Orlando. Bayou Boys are in the Auburn. Meanwhile, MVP in the blue. First to strike, MVP. So the game's a little bit different here for the men's competition, as MVP gets set from the service line right off the net. The point is good for Joseph DeLuzio. He'll continue to serve. Yeah, Aaron, we were talking about the differences to this game. Spell it out for us. What is so different?
Well, obviously the net height's a little bit different. There's a good difference between 7'11" and 7'4". It's all for the men's side. It's all about blocking and power. So you're going to see powerful swings, but you're going to see that ball get blocked and go straight back down to the floor. For the women's game, obviously it's a lot about strategy and defense. For the men's, they actually use the back row attack as an option in system. So that means if they get a perfect pass, they're going to try to use a back row attack, almost adding a 4th option, where women's typically use it, especially at this level, use it as an out-of-system play.
A little hiccup here from the service line for the Bayou Boys. So the point will go back to MVP Academy. They will rotate, and it is their libero here, Soren Sotoday. The attack from the outside is successful for Loop.
We were talking about that a little bit before the match as we were watching it go on. Guys don't like to hit line. They like to hit angle all the time, and I'm thinking to myself, if they just hit line, they would be so much more successful. But here comes Loop with his first swing, crushing it down the line.
And these points are coming easy from the middle. Dylan Ryan getting activated for MVP.
And with the women's side of the game, there's a lot of trickery. You're going to see a lot of running around. You're going to see some slides, which is the middle goes behind. You're going to see right sides coming in the front. With these 2 teams, it's very simple. They want to keep it 4-1-C, 4-3-C, and run a very, very simple, effective offense.
Lewandowski with that point for the Bayou Boys, and we touched on it a little bit. This is a group that is feisty. They told us they're undersized. They like going up against these juggernauts, and came in with the 30th seed, and look at them now.
Well, you can even just tell in their style of play, they play a little bit smarter than powerful. But, you know, there's so many different options. Even in that last match, we were watching MVP Academy take on Orlando Gold. There's just so many different offensive weapons for MVP that we know the Bayou Boys can match it, especially defensively. They just have to be able to do that offensively as well.
Hoyos with the power from the service line. Free ball comes over. We'll set the right side.
It's a great save. Good effort by Sanders to save that ball out of the net. Passed a little bit too tight. Turned his body to try to get that back row or that right side to get the attack. Good body control.
Soren Sotude getting ready to serve, who we featured here in the Open. That one, an error.
And you'll see that a lot in men's volleyball too, with power. comes a lot more errors. So you're going to see the ball sail out more. You're going to see those net touches from those top spin serves. But what they make in errors, they make up for in kills and blocks, just like that. Huge block by number 18, Bryce Park. A little bit late. Looks like it actually caught number 7, Colby Landry, on that right hand, just inside on the court.
Oh! And what an ace to deliver to back that one up and make this one a 1-point game. Ross Miller, the DS, the rising junior for the team from Louisiana. Nice tip there. The power move, and what a dig from Loop. Keeps it going. The longest rally so far of this set.
Now keep in mind, Bayou Boys came in a little bit fresher than MVP Academy. MVP just closed out a 3-set thriller with Orlando Gold, while Bayou Boys were looking on. So there could be a fatigue factor in here too.
And we're going to have a whistle against MVP as they got into that net, and the point will go to the Bayou Boys. It is a best-of-3 set here for this championship game. And yeah, and I think MVP Academy, Aaron, got, 15 minutes rest in between?
Yeah.
They're having to regroup on the fly.
Well, and it's hard to do that when you're so ingrained in a match, and that was a super intense match. The fans were screaming at each other. You know, it was a very emotionally fatiguing match too. So I'm excited to see how they respond in this match against a team that can do the things that surprise you. They didn't get here by a fluke. They got here because they played smart and they played good defense, and they just didn't err. They were very, very consistent overall.
And that play made by Colby Landry. And then, like you said, we're going to see those moments into the net from the service line.
And I think boys, they get a little bit of a pass because they hit a little bit harder, but it still drives us crazy, right? It's still, we're not even to 15 yet. We already have a significant amount of service errors.
Bryce Park with the connection there. MVP sets back row. This went off the hands of Dane Loop, and it's a point for MVP Academy.
And just a surprising communication miscue from the Bayou Boys. They have such good chemistry that it's very rare that crossing pattern gets missed because two people weren't communicating. You have to have that back row player talk to the player running in front, telling them that they're going to make that attack. It's another communication miscue.
And it's compiling now as MVP Academy has knotted things up, taking the lead. 10-9 here in the first set of the AAU Junior National 18 under championship. We'll go right side this go round for Beatty. DeLuzio putting it away.
And DeLuzio has just this awesome, powerful arm swing where he can go super sharp cross court, just like he did there, right into that seam. The block is there. He just hits right over it.
Jeremy Sanchez here, serving for 5 straight points. And the play at the net is made by Cody Hayes.
And that's one area of the court the Bayou Boys have to be very, very cognizant of. They can't pass the ball over the net because they're at the height disadvantage. They have to keep that ball a little bit farther off the net and a little bit higher so that their attackers can just leap and go get the ball.
Free ball comes over for MVP. They'll go middle again. And this one totally off its mark. Bryce Park upset with himself for that miss. And a timeout being called here from the Bayou Boys as they now trail by 4 points. Aaron, what kind of adjustments do you think they got to make now? They seemingly had control to start this thing off.
Yeah, I think it's all about net control at this point. You know, they've lost a few points with those, overpasses, things tight to the net. They just have to really Bayou Boys really have to gain control of that part of the game because, again, they're at a height disadvantage. Now for MVP, it's all about strategically dishing out the offense so that the hitters are left one-on-one. Because your opponent's such a good defending team, you have to try to keep it tricky. You have to try to mix it up. Don't show them the same thing over and over again and keep that defense guessing.
And this might have been a saving grace moment for the Bayou Boys, and service error from MVP to end the run. Vincent Giovingo, the setter who's going to LSU next year to play club, is going to be a dentist. Only 2 kids graduating off of that Bayou Boys squad as that ball stays in for MVP. Beautiful shot there from Joseph DeLuzio.
And another really sharp cross. If you're a middle attacker, the instinct with that left hand is to dive in, to come across to that right hand. You have to keep it disciplined and take away that sharp cross-court shot, because your libero or your left back doesn't stand a chance against that sharp cross-court from DeLuzio.
Outside. Hoyas will make it count.
A net violation from the Bayou Boys. You just can't have those compounding errors. They're setting up their defense so well. Just can't give away points like that. But there's still a lot of game to play in this first set.
5-point advantage here for MVP. Make it 4. And this is the first time the Bayou Boys have made it A, to this tournament, and B, they're going up against a juggernaut. I don't even know if they know MVP's background, but they have a lot of grit to themselves. They told me that their mantra is heart over height. So they're going to probably be digging into that as this match continues.
Yeah, and you can see they play with it. You know, they are at a height disadvantage, but they do such a good job of reading. They're a great strategy team. They are good communicators, and those are really key elements to the game of volleyball.
Back row set. That one drops down off the hands of Beatty. What a swing there for DeLuzio.
And using that back row attack as a powerful tool. MVP up the 10-4 in kills, and I think a lot of it's because they have so many different options on offense. But that back row attack as an in-system strategy is it's so brilliant. I know that the girls at the higher levels use it. We'll see how they adapt that in the rest of the tournament here.
And the attack keeps coming from behind that 10-foot line. That ball just out. So the possession will stay with MVP Academy. Starting to create some space here, Aaron. And what a drop for Nathan Lewandowski.
And when Lewandowski's in the front row, there's definitely a different vibe to the Bayou Boys. He's so good at mixing up his shots. He's got that left-handed attack. A lot of times defenses teams don't have left-handers on their team. They don't know how to read that attack.
Nice little love tap there from Colby Landry to keep the Bayou Boys in this.
Good discipline, stays at the net, tracks where he needs to be, and just puts the ball back over. It's just such a momentum killer. I wish boys would understand that.
You talked a little bit about the difference between the women's and the men's game, specifically to how they do, their rotations and their schematics. It's a simpler game out here, it looks like, from the men.
I think so. It's because they can rely so much on the power that they have. They don't have to, even though finesse is a beautiful thing, and thank you, Dane Loop, for showing us finesse, because you don't see that a lot in the men's game. But they don't have to use trickery to score points because it's so much more powerful. That's why when an attacker hits the ball, it sounds heavy, especially in the men's game.
Outside attack is out of bounds for Jeremy Sanchez. 4-point game. Back-to-back service errors now starting to compound for the Bayou Boys. Coach Petta there taking notes. Probably saying if you take away all the service errors, they probably would have won this thing by now.
Yeah, but and the good thing is both sides are making those errors, so it's not a huge factor, but it's a momentum killer. you want to build up some momentum to carry on so you can get to that 25-point mark the first. So, 4 on each side, now 5 for the Bayou Boys. You have to put the ball in play, give your team a chance to defend.
And how much of this is mental?
Yeah, I think they've been playing on a lot of different style courts over the past few days. It could be that the distance of the court is a little bit different on championship court. It's what makes it so special. So that could be a factor in it too.
A little bit of fatigue might be coming into effect at this point. A lot of matches played in a short period of time. Travel. And we have a service that was in play. And the point will stick with the Bayou Boys. It is the first to 25. As that connection for MVP was out of reach. They've called a timeout to kind of sort things through here as the set comes to a close. We're going to listen in here.
And let's put the ball away. Look, you guys, we got to push them. That's all. We'll just push them a little bit. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. Okay, come on. We're going to settle down. Come on.
We're here for a reason, okay?
Let's go.
Bayou on 3, 1, 2, 3. Bayou.
Hey, come here. All right, go ahead.
And you got to like that messaging, right? We're here for a reason, Aaron.
Yeah, and it's just such a stark difference to women's huddles. It's all about emotion and fire, and then you get into the guys' huddle. It's we're here for a reason, whatever. Let's just play some volleyball. I love it. As someone asked me earlier, do I like watching boys? I absolutely love watching boys because it's so genuine. It's just about the sport. It's not about the emotional side. It's just so much fun to watch.
It's incredible how they can separate the two, which just points to the action we're seeing here on the floor right now in this AAU 18 under championship game. And that one luckily out of bounds for the Bayou Boys.
And that's good block setup. The set was a little bit farther inside. Beatty was a little bit late, but he took away that only option to go sharp cross court.
We'll go from the right side, and it's effective this go-around for Herrera.
And we normally don't see MVP Academy running a 5-1, so they don't have the option to run that slide. But that was an awesome swing by number 8. Herrera on that right side. I love to see men run slides because they just run it so much more powerful. But a lot of times MVP, like they've just done, they elect to go with the 6-2. So that means that they have 3 hitters in the front row with their setter always staying in the back row. It was just that one specific rotation they elected to do the 5-1.
Free ball sets up, middle. Nice little tap there. Bayou Boys get it over.
They're just scrappy. That's what good teams do. They just keep the ball alive, and they're scrappy, and they play tough defense, and it makes hitters overthink what they have to do. That's what led the Bayou Boys to get here. They are just super scrappy. They're gritty, and they're going to put everything they can to keep the ball alive.
Right side again. Big dig there from Giovingo. Little helter-skelter there. Ball gets over, and big block at the net. That one stays down. Beatty, all a part of it for the Bayou Boys.
And again, it's all about setting your opponent up. Yes, they didn't get the perfect play, but they forced their opponent out of system that allows the middles to go ahead and cheat to that right side or run a red and block that ball. Same thing here. Beatty can now cheat over to that right-hand side because of the effectiveness of the tough serve.
This one to Herrera, and it's in. It counts. We're 1 point away from the first set being settled, Aaron.
And anytime you can have a setter-hitter connection that is as beautiful as it just was with Herrera, where you just pop that ball up nice and tight, he can just go up there, use all that power, that strength to just slam it down.
And, of course, we have another timeout here. The Bayou Boys called it as they're trying to avoid the upset here in the first set. MVP Academy in control, 24-21. It's best of 25 and the best of 3 sets for the match in the 18U national title. Aaron Campbell, the former UCF volleyball standout in the booth alongside Despina Barton. This is set point, folks. Soren Sutude with the serve. Big power swing from the Bayou Boys. We'll try it again on the opposite side. This one mishandled from MVP.
And great setting choices by Giovinco, number 3 for Bayou Boys. Goes outside the first time, sees the block is set up really well. Doesn't show he's going to go back to that right side in transition and gets a really nice set for Lewandowski to swing up and get a kill.
Clean serve from Sanders, and what a put down from number 17, Dylan Ryan. He puts the post stamp on the set. MVP Academy taking this first game in the best of 3 series in the AAU 18U's championship. Aaron, if that gave us any indication of what's to come, there's a lot more volleyball in store for this championship game. Stay right where you are. We'll be back with the second set. Aaron Campbell, Despina Barton, the 18U championship, coming back in just a moment.
Experience running through Disney theme parks when you participate in a Run Disney race weekend. Whether you're a beginner or an experienced runner, Run Disney has a distance for everyone from 5Ks to marathons. And with some amazing race weekend themes like Star Wars and classic Disney, you'll be cheered on by some real characters. Looking for your next finisher medal? Visit rundisney.com to learn more.
ESPN Plus. Thousands of live events. Exclusive releases. The entire 30 for 30 collection. Available on the ESPN app and ESPN.com. All of this and more exclusively on ESPN Plus. Start your free trial now.
Go the distance with Disney at the ESPN Wide World of Sports in Florida. Here you can train or compete in one of the many events hosted at our world-class New Balance Track and Field Complex. From Disney Track and Field Spring Training to the Disney Cross Country Classic, the ESPN Wide World of Sports is here to help you soar over every hurdle. For more information, check out DisneyTrackandField.com.
Welcome back inside the HP Fieldhouse, the site for the 46th Annual AAU Volleyball Championships. This is the 18U Championship match, and the first set was settled to MVP Academy, 25-22. A big reason for that finish was from number 4, Joseph Deluzio.
And he was just all over the court. Such a huge leader for this offense. Cuts the ball, super sharp cross. Hasn't had to go line, but has done an awesome job dictating this offense, running back row plays, being consistent on the service line, and obviously having a good time while doing it.
Yeah, 3 kills, 8 digs, and an ace, and it's all smiles so far. They've got one more set to settle, and they can call themselves national championships for the 2nd straight year. Giovinco will start things off for the newcomers, the Bayou Boys. Big swing deflected at the net. That one's out of bounds, so the point will stay in favor of Omar Hoyas and, of course, MVP Academy.
And what I loved about Omar Hoyas in the last match we watched, he hasn't been set a lot so far in this one, but in the semifinal, he was just ripping the ball. Super fearless outside, kind of what you want. And that's a pretty gnarly ace. when these guys get a hold of that nice top spin, the beauty of it, it's like a fastball in baseball, right? Has all that spin, all that top spin, that thing just drops on you really fast, and it's hard to get underneath it and pass the ball.
Of course, that's coming from Sworn Sutude. And what a nice little dip there that's actually going to not go in the Bayou Boys' favor. Some confusion there at the net.
Barely out. Barely out. Smart play, though. You don't see a lot of guys tip. I always love when you see guys mix up their shots. Oh, that's a good swing.
And it goes down.
And there's so much more to that swing than it's just, oh, that he hit it and it went inside. That's a left-handed attacker swinging on the outside court, on the outside position, which is not favorable for his left-handed attack. It's so much timing and so much control to get that swing and then swing that ball down the line. Just brilliant.
Dane Luke trying to get in on the action. MVP starting to let loose a little bit while you're starting to see frustration on the faces of the Bayou Boys. We got to listen into their huddle just a few moments ago, and this was the 30th seed here in the championship game. Loop again stays with it. We'll keep it coming.
Oh, brilliant. It's the right play. So his ball's tight and inside. Hoyos tries to go up and use the block, but super, super disciplined by the right side attacker. And the middle going after that, not letting themselves get tooled or get the ball hit off their hands and then go out of bounds. Good job by Beatty and Lewandowski.
And just the presence back at that net from Lewandowski and Landry. Kind of forced a fumble on the other side.
Yeah, and it's anytime that you can read your hitters well, MVP doesn't do anything super tricky. So you just have to follow your hitter, track where they're coming from, and make sure you block right in front.
This one couldn't be managed by Sanders. It's a kill for Jeremy Sanchez.
And in the girls' game or in the women's game, you always want to say, okay, if you can't beat them with height, you beat them with speed. But the men's game's so different. It's so different in what their strategy would be as a shorter team. For Bayou Boys, it's all about good ball control and good defense.
Ball stays alive. We'll set it up for Deluzio. That one drops in the favor of MVP. 3-point lead here for the team out of Fort Lauderdale.
And if you watch closely, all the guys at the net cover their heads because they've been hit once or twice by a serve that's gone rogue.
Dane Loop reinvigorating this Bayou Boys team.
And Ryan trying to go up there and block. Watch how his hands come over. They don't stay outside. They're in the same spot. You have to keep your hands interdependent when you block. You're blocking two different zones of the court with that attack.
We'll set back up outside again to Loop. Back-to-back points from Dane Loop.
And what I love about watching the Bayou Boys is that it's really real volleyball. It's really raw. They're playing simple, but they're playing really smart. They're not doing anything super overwhelmingly different, but they are very disciplined in what they're doing. Oh, great dig.
Ball staying in play. Deluzio will have a second shot at it. Ball off a loop.
Great play. 2 out of the net plays.
Nothing fancy, though. Oh. And then they lost their concentration. Vincent Giovingo there at the net, the culprit.
But it's so frustrating as a hitter to have, like, you're going to go up there, you're going to rip the ball, you're going to, like, slam it on the ground, and then someone just comes in and digs it really easy. It just takes so much steam out of your engine. And that's why good defense wins championships, especially when it comes to the sport of volleyball.
That was a nice elevation from Landry. Right side gets it over. We'll get an attack from back row. No good. Point the Bayou Boys. Outside, powerful swing from Deluzio. Just out of bounds, though. I would move out of the way of that one.
Yeah,
that would probably break my nose, Aaron.
For real. And it's a good matchup for Deluzio because, again, even in the men's game, the setters aren't your best blockers. So Giovingo is on the front row. He's blocking that right side. So I expect MVP Academy is going to keep trying to force that ball to the outside to go over the setter's hands. Just have to make sure to keep that ball in play, get that nice top spin on it so it drops and falls to the floor.
Yeah, we have a few questions going on the court right now about the scoreboard. Bayou Boys head coach says it is 7-7, and they have effectively updated that for us. So we have a tied ball game here. Second set of the AAU National Championship. MVP now with a slight advantage.
Like, if I hit like that, I'd be, like, super stoked, right? You know? That's
so
just like, this is just their normal life. Like, that's just how they hit now. That's just how these guys hit. It's fine. Good swing. Very rare do you see a ball go without a body hitting the floor. Huge swing by Bryce Park on the outside, right between two of the defenders for MVP Academy.
And Bryce Park, one of those guys that's going to be playing club volleyball at LSU next year. He's also graduating. Landry. Ooh. I wanted to say clean serve so bad. But Coach Hoyos there will take the points any way he can get them.
Especially in a tight match like this, you just don't want to give points away. But you still, and that's the fine line. You want to be aggressive and force your team out of system, but you also don't want to err on the serve. It's this really delicate dance that all volleyball players have to play.
Bryce Park again sends it deep. DeLuzio would clean that up. Nice tip. Trying to catch him on surprise there from the Bayou Boys.
Great dig.
All right, going outside again, and can't get underneath it. DeLuzio can't save it. The point goes down for Nicholas Beatty.
Well, it's a huge pull by Beatty. As he goes around, he pulls the block. That leaves outside Bryce Park wide open for that seam shot. So that's the beauty of having that front row setter. You only have two attackers, but you can be really tricky in what you play.
And Bryant Herrera just doing what he does best, elevating in the middle there for another point for MVP. He steps off for a breather.
You always want to get that middle activation early and often. Good passing leads to good middle activation.
And wide open is that piece of the hardwood floor.
You know, you'd expect MVP, the Florida team, to have a little bit more of the beachy style, but what we've noticed from the Bayou Boys is they're playing with that beach influence. They're really strategic in where they're placing the ball. Even if it's a soft shot, they're being smart about where it's going, trying to use that block as much as possible. Definitely a beach influence team.
And I think you and I were talking about this while we were watching these semifinals on the court, that beach volleyball has done as much for boys volleyball, indoor volleyball, as, you know, the indoor is done for the girls outside. I mean, it's incredible that the two have just kept feeding one another.
Yeah, and especially when you get into those Olympic years, you're going to notice that there's more traction for the men's game overall. But yeah, I think what beach has done, or what women's indoor has done for beach, men's beach has done for men's indoor. Getting people to play. You know, they see the Karchkarais, they see all these guys, Phil Dahlhauser, winning these awesome championships, and they're like, well, I want to play as much and often as I can, and that's when they pick up the indoor six.
Back row attack is out. Colby Landry just over that mark. Coach
Just
Hoyos.
so much power and like so much discipline on both of these teams. You know, they're playing really good defense. They have really good systems. It's pretty powerful.
Yeah, here we're gonna go to the MVP bench here to hear what Coach Hoyos is saying.
Swing hard. Still put the ball inside the court, but swing to terminate. Okay, they're a good defensive team. So if we start playing around with them, they're gonna hang around. I don't want them hanging around. Okay, so let's put them down now. Okay.
Hey, has anybody won an AAU championship? Never. No. Never. AAU championship. You won it. Was it fun to do that? Well, it doesn't look like it's fun right now. None of you guys have won it.
Let's go. Let's go.
Hey, we have 3, 1, 2, 3. I don't care who we play or what we play. This is great. Come on.
Listen, I love that.
Yeah.
Right? We're here to have fun. We're here to win. We won it before. Coach Hoyos, though, doesn't want this one to be close, Aaron.
Yeah, and I love that he's like, swing to terminate. Swing to terminate, because you're right. Anytime you give teams any leverage or any hope to win, you're setting yourself up for a sneak attack, for someone to come back into the court or come back into the match and steal it from you. And yes, Bayou Boys are a very good strategic and defensive team. They're very well-rounded.
Dane Loop, a little softer approach with that attack. We'll get DeLuzio back row. That one's going to be off the Bayou Boys, so the point will go to MVP. I think we're seeing a little bit
more smiling faces.
Energy,
hopefully.
smiles. They're probably going to go to Disney Springs after this to celebrate, you know, whoever does win.
And a lot of these guys, this is, you know, if they're not going to go play club at their schools or they're not going to go play in college, this is it. You know, this is the final showing for them. So we get to experience that right alongside with them.
Hoyos with the connection there. Safe to say he's the coach's son, the matching first and last name. So he gets set to serve. Yeah, this is the 18Us. You're going off to college for most of these guys next year, or just a couple months. And too many touches for the Bayou Boys. And another point for MVP. Aaron, you talked about this being kind of a David versus Goliath match. We didn't expect to see the Bayou Boys from Louisiana make it to this championship game. They've done it with so much poise and defense. They came in with the 30th seed, and they are playing like they belong.
All you have to do is frustrate really good teams. And the way you do that is by picking balls up, playing defense, because defense isn't always the focus in men's volleyball. So if you have the X factor, if you have that one thing that's not really a huge focus, you're going to get to this championship match and you're going to put up a good fight.
Jaden Sanders couldn't hang on as Dylan Ryan put that ball to rest. His team up by 6 now.
Just look how fast his arm swing is. Boom. Comes around nice and high, has that perfect what we call bow and arrow. Left the elbows high, he whips that wrist around. Nice pop on the ball.
That would have been a nice tip from the Bayou Boys. Free ball comes over instead.
Oh, great save.
Right, set to the right side, and Jeremy Sanchez knows what to do with it there.
And a huge save by Morales. That ball was super, super tight to the net, turns his body, almost side sets that ball to Sanchez on the right side. Nice tip over.
6 points away from going back-to-back here at AAU Nationals.
Thinking there's a touch off the block, but that ball went out of bounds without a touch from the Bayou Boys. The point goes to them.
Dane Loop here from behind the service line offered a few good touches on the outside when he went up front row, but it's hard to combat big swings from Bryant Herrera.
Yeah, he's just got really good court awareness. Him and his setter have an awesome connection where they know kind of where to line up, especially if the ball's out of system or if they want to run a specific play. He's got that true middle mentality.
Outside with a soft touch. And that one drops. Miscommunication from MVP. Point goes to the Bayou Boys.
And those soft touches, no one expects them. That ball was like perfectly placed right over the blocker. The blocker had to come down to make it. Yeah, bodies diving all over the place. It looks simple, but it's really complicated and complex. And just a really smart swing by Bryce Park.
Landry with the miscue there at the net. And you're watching the AAU Junior National Championships. The 18U on the court is MVP Academy and the Bayou Boys. We're inside the HP Fieldhouse at Walt Disney World Resort in beautiful Orlando, Florida. And we're moments away from crowning a new Junior National Champion. Aaron Campbell and Despina Barton here in the booth with you this afternoon.
This is what we call Sunday Fun Day. Getting to watch some awesome volleyball and hang out here in the booth.
Some fresh flavor on the court with Ryan Beach out there now for MVP.
Well, that ball was just in. Great placement by Lewandowski. Anytime that ball can go into the 1 square foot of the back corner, you know it's going to be a kill.
Try the outside. What a block at the net. Lewandowski a part of all of that.
And the duo of Beatty and Lewandowski in the front row, this is definitely the best blocking rotation for Bayou Boys. So they need to keep this serve as long as possible. They're going to be able to score a lot of points in this rotation because of that dynamic blocking duo. Look at that, back to back.
And now it's just a 3-point game. And the momentum all riding with the Bayou Boys trying to cling on. Let's listen in on the MVP. Excuse me, let's listen in the Bayou Boys. Huddle.
So he tried to swing it through you twice. The roll's coming next, okay? So watch it. Let's go. Come on, keep pushing. Come on.
Bayou on 3, 1, 2, 3, Bayou.
Coach Petta there just asking his guys to keep pushing. They're so close now. The margin has tightened.
And if you don't love a good underdog story, you must not like sports at all, because I love to see these teams that are maybe obscure. You've never heard of them before, but they fight, and there's a reason why they get there, and the Bayou Boys are certainly that. They're scrappy. They have some really good blocking discipline, and they are hanging in this match today. Back-to-back blocks, another block for the Bayou Boys. Bayou blocking boys, that's what I'm talking about.
They're not going down without a fight, Aaron.
Good tip, good recovery.
And from the outside, Lewandowski, not only is he going to block for you, Aaron, he's going to offer some stoppage points.
And I love to see when hitters, they recognize that it's not the perfect set. They're not just going to go swing away. They're not going to make an error. They're going to go off the blocker's hands and get the good point. Good slow down, just a little bit late from Beatty. Good swing by Hoyos off the hands. If there's ever a perfect kill in volleyball, that's it. You take advantage of what the blockers give you.
So Sutude with the serve, his team 3 points away from going back-to-back national titles, but I don't know if we're that close because this Bayou team is feisty when they've got their backs against the wall. Lewandowski with that last point.
Oh, good dig.
Ball stays up.
Just out of bounds. Oh, great dig, though, by number 7. Colby Landry out of the back row. We don't really call him a lot for defense, but hey, he's sitting back there. Nice dig, nice play. Just a little bit too tight to the net.
Ethan Morales with the clean serve. We'll get an attack on the outside and the block at the net from Dylan Ryan. MVP feeling it now. We've got a timeout here just ahead of championship point.
It's not over. Until they score 25, it's not over. So look, who's my front row? Pick one. Pick one of those 3 big boys and put the ball away. Any which one can put it away for us. My back row, I need y'all covering the block, okay? Let's go, come on. Make them work.
Bayou on 3, 1, 2, 3, Bayou.
Thank you, sir.
Pretty simple game plan there, Aaron, but it is championship point. They got to hang on for dear life and make them work.
It's all about the first ball kill. Get this ball back, you score, you get points when you serve, so you just have to sight out fast.
Big swing, they dig it up. Beatty keeps it alive. And this one slipping through the block for MVP. Let the celebration begin. It's the boys from Fort Lauderdale that win the 18U championship here at the 46 AAU Junior National Volleyball Championships. They did it on championship court inside the HP Fieldhouse, taking this one in 2 sets. MVP Academy, back-to-back national champions.
Now, just an awesome match. You know, I love when you get to see the David and Goliath mentality. You have a team that's coming in that can surprise everybody by playing really scrappy defense. But it's hard to take down that Goliath when they have so many different options on offense.
Yep, this is a team that does really well here in Orlando on the beautiful campus of Walt Disney World Resorts. They're going to go home with a lot to show, especially this highlight melt, Aaron. Let's go! They had a lot of star power, and they attacked from pretty much everywhere on the court.
Yeah, and in the first set, the Bayou Boys came out really aggressive behind the service line, forcing MVP Academy to be really uncomfortable. But the control at the net was really the X factor for MVP Academy. They just did such a good job of managing the net, of scoring on offense, running their offense really well, and took that first set easily. And into the second set, it was all about serve receive and attacking an offense for MVP Academy. But the Bayou Boys did an awesome job in the second set of blocking all of the attacks coming from MVP Academy. It was just too much and too experienced on the other side of the net, and that's what helped them get their championship today.
And what was impressive is the Bayou Boys didn't sit back and let MVP run away with this thing. Instead, they clawed for every point and made this one a tight one down the stretch. We gotta look at the numbers now because MVP put up a lot of them as far as kills, and obviously Diggs looks drastically different than the Bayou Boys. What stands out to you, Aaron?
Yeah, you know, obviously the errors, Bayou Boys just made a little bit more errors on offense and on the service line, but look at them control the net. They blocked the ball so well today. They just needed a little bit more on offense to counterbalance those errors on the serve-receive side or on the service line, and they would have been right in this, but it's a close match, and both teams just had an awesome showing today.
And it's going to be MVP Academy that gets to take home the big trophy back to Fort Lauderdale. They're your 2018 18U National AAU Volleyball Champions. They bring home the hardware here from Orlando. For Aaron Campbell, Despina Barton, and our entire ESPN Wide World of Sports crew, we say goodbye from the HP Fieldhouse and congratulations to MVP Academy, the 18U champions.